Well, welcome back to another episode of on the Uncommon Podcast. We have new digs.
I guess I almost didn't recognize you. Different room.
I look much cooler in front of vinyl. So we've changed locations a little bit, and so it might be a little bit of a work in progress. We'll swap out the record wall once in a while. We're going to start with this, but it's just meant to be, something cool behind us, as well as Oswald with his fedora.
See, I'm gonna start taking bets when we add Christmas vinyls to the wall.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm
doubt.
like, how soon? I've already started playing some Christmas music in the office, so
Well,
where hasn't Bing Crosby going?
don't get me started. I'll start playing way too soon. We're going to be doing some short form content. It's the summer series. And so they'll be like, 10, 15 minutes type thing, no more than that. So this one is for husbands, and the title is called She's Changed. And I may not like it or don't understand it. So we're talking about has your wife changed over time? And that could be within last few months, last few years, or decades. And if you've taken the time maybe to get to know that person, change is inevitable. I don't care how much you detest it. I live with a woman that hates change in all forms. But change happens all the time regardless.
Sure.
So you've been married for 5 years. So obviously you would say Heather has changed in that 5-year period. What have you guys done to stay connected to those changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it there's good and bad changes like over time, right? Like complacency is a big no-no. I know couples that always talk about the idea of like do not forget the date night, know, because like that's a change. Like, well, I sleep next to this person, I wake up next to this person, I work out of my house, I see this person almost 24/7.
Right.
It's almost hard to differentiate the idea of like date night versus just it's a Tuesday kind of thing.
Right.
So I know that's one thing that we've more recently just kind of talked through, trying to figure out like, okay, we need to be more intentional about being date nights and avoiding that decline and that change.
Right.
On the positive side, I do have noticed that we're much more. We've been through so much as a couple, from health issues, housing, finances, job, that I think we are much more open about conversations that maybe in the very beginning of our relationship probably wasn't.
Nice.
And then, on the other side of that is being okay with the silence too. Like the idea of like not every 10 seconds does something have to be said.
Right.
So, it comes in all shapes and forms, and like you may think, oh, I'm the same dude I was in the beginning. You're not. I mean, just the sheer nature of this. And we talk about this being for husbands, but I mean, realistically, this could also apply to if you're dating someone, because the person you started dating 2 years ago is not the same person that you're dating now.
Right.
But I do know that there is something to be said that if you do not make intentional efforts to embrace that change, you can be like, well, I mean, the common joke about you're not the woman I married. It's like she is. You're like kind of rose tinted glasses, the version of that you used to know or whatever. But like we've learned everything's in God's timing of like, when we first got married, we were talking about trying to have kids in the beginning, and now looking back on that time frame, knowing now that Heather got pretty sick after that, and then lost her job for about 6 months, and even now, like Heather's trying to recover from stepping away from her job, that God knew we weren't ready to have kids at that point. And I'm like, and even our relationship with each other has gotten much, much better. Just working through insecurities and expectations and that kind of stuff. That if we had added a child to the mix in the very beginning, I think it would have made things a lot more difficult than it needed to be.
Yeah, I think that change comes in all forms of not just a person changing, but time, right? Passage of time, transitions of life. So Mom and I been married for over 35 years. We've been together for about 6 years before that because we were dating in school and college and all that. And so just by sheer time, you're going to experience change. We call it change, and maybe maturity that person goes through. You, them, both, right? Or just life changes in general. Like we got married. A couple years later, we had you. We had Noah. Escalate that down to you both graduate college, you get married. We're empty nesters. We're eyeing retirement. Feels like it's a distance away, but we're eyeing retirement. And so you can just kind of see that how you handle change is going to benefit you as you move through life. And if you are resistant to it, or if you try not to pay attention to it, it's probably going to come back and bite you, because change is going to happen regardless of your perspective of it.
Sure.
And so, I think we're big fans of doing marriage studies, or we kind of come out of service on Sundays and sit and talk about notes we took and what that means to us individually and each one of us as a couple. And so I think it's important to be aware that things are changing. There's going to be good change and bad change, being let go of a job, or having a bad health report, not great change.
Right.
But I think approaching this with through the lens of God, that He's in control of either one of those situations, good or bad change, helps us from a maturity standpoint deal with things that have always been out of our control, but we just happen just to notice it.
Right. I mean, you can go kicking and screaming into change, or you can try to make the best of it. I mean, whether that is raging against the machine of like, I had some health problem or whatever, and that is now the change I'm dealing with. I mean, it's always easier said than done, but like at that moment, like that's out of your hands. That's,
Sure.
I mean, you can give that up to God and try to move on, or you can sit and just be like, well, I'm upset that this thing happened to me. And so, we always joke about, man plan, God laughs, right?
Sure.
And, there's always something to be gained from when you're going through those hard changes. There's something to be looked at from the good changes too, because when you're going through these seasons, there is always either something you to learn, your spouse to learn, or you to impart in someone else.
Sure.
And the trick is to look at that and see, okay, Lord, what are you trying to show me in this season of change? Are you asking me to rely on you more financially? Are you asking me to put others in front of myself more, or X, Y, and Z? Because I think when you go looking for more reasons behind the change, it gets easier to accept the change and move forward with that kind of mindset.
Yeah, I think that you think back to my dad or grandfather, even father-in-law, very stoic, maybe a person who would spend a lot of time in the recliner in the back watching TV. The world goes merrily on without him. And I do think that even us trying to sequester ourselves away from change, unfortunately, that you just take yourself out of the game, per se. You might come out of the back of the den and realize, oh, so the front of the house was on fire? I didn't even know that. Of course you didn't, because sometimes you got your head in the sand, kind of thing. So I think it's important to realize that while you may not like change from your own personal standpoint, being aware of it not only benefits you, but that other person, like you said, I mean, your wife and kids may be looking to you for input or support on that change. your son or daughter going off to college, that's a big change in their lives.
Sure.
Getting married, having a child, they may be coming to you and say, well, so how was it when you went through this? They want to know that, okay, this can be done. I want to do it to the glory of God and my own sanity. How can I do this and put as less stress as possible?
Sure.
But if you're not a person who, I don't want to say always embraces change, because some change you just kind of like, it's difficult to do that. But if you understand that it's bigger than you, that, Dana's mom just passed away recently. I'm not quite sure, actually, we've done a podcast since she's passed.
No.
So she passed away just over a month ago, and all that change, driving down to New Orleans, having to, for the funeral and stuff. Life is nothing but change right now. I don't foresee it calming down for probably another maybe 3 to 6 months kind of thing, just because you're on the tail end of what that means.
Sure.
But, she was looking to me like, hey, my life is kind of a bit upside down right now, and if I would have been not there from a spiritual standpoint, emotional standpoint, boy, she would have been struggling with that a lot more. And so I think preparing ourselves for change, asking our wife or asking your husband about how their day is going, I think is a big thing, because it gives us a platform to discuss all the things that are going on in our lives, which is probably a lot more change than we want to think it is.
Sure. Yeah.
There was change. So, I think that it's important to think of this beyond yourself.
Sure. And I mean, we topic this one for husbands, but I mean, change comes for us all.
Yeah.
And, we can take opportunities when there's a quote unquote calm in the storm to prepare for these kind of change moments that happen to us all, getting married, having children, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, whether you want it to or not, change is going to happen. It's really just, are you going to try to prepare for it and be flexible in those moments and rely on God in it?
Yeah, I think that as we kind of started this summer series piece, we're kind of a bit of unplugged, maybe a little bit less structure to it, no less focused on a walk with Christ. But these are more kind of laid back topics that we may not touch on normally. And our goal is to have a little bit shorter form content and also get engagement.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this and you've gone through a lot of change, good or bad, or both, let us know how you handled it, how you're handling it currently, and some input from this topic.
Yeah. Because when you go through this kind of stuff, everybody goes through some version of this.
Sure.
It may not be the exact thing, but, I know from our perspective of when we're talking to new couples, we always talk through the pitfalls and the change that we had to go through. Be like, all right, here's how we handled it, and here's what we'd recommend you not do. Here's what things we did find that were good. And that you can be that to somebody, and it doesn't have to be a family member. It could be in the comments, your Bible study, whatever. But
Sure.
it does require us to be vulnerable in those moments of like, okay, yeah, I went through change when I had my first kid, and I was a terrible father and husband during that time frame, and I handled it poorly.
Yeah.
So that there's something to be learned from that too, and being open and honest with other people. The opposite of shame is being honest about it.
Right.
So, it doesn't always have to be a success story, but it can be something you've grown from.
Well, in light of our short form content, it's time to land this plane. So I want to thank our sponsor of Wilson Technology Group. The guys over there, Robbie is a personal friend of ours, and he's always been very supportive of Uncommon. And I want to thank you, Robbie, for all your support. And stay tuned for our upcoming short summer series topics that you'll see. I think we're going to try to do maybe 2 a week posting out there. So
Change.
ooh, more change. So even though that changes, this stays the same. Joshua hit him with it.
You're going to be something? Be uncommon.
Amen.